You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Good morning, Car Clinic affiliates. Your Car Clinic minutes for the week of April 4th, 2016 are about to head your way. so be sure to press the record button. As always, thank you for listening to and broadcasting Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have an excellent weekend.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Are you wishing and hoping and dreaming about cars, that is? Teachers used to scold for idling away the hours. Now they give high fives. When I come back, I'll tell you all about it. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. From Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus. Every time the cost of a barrel of oil goes up $1, it costs the U.S. Navy $31 million. But it's costly in more ways than just money. For every 50 convoys of gasoline we bring in, we lose a Marine, killed or wounded. That is too high a price to pay for fuel. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Daydreaming in class used to get you a trip to the principal's office. Now it could be your ticket to the winner's circle. Daimler Chrysler is sponsoring the Build Your Dream Vehicle competition. Students conceive and design futuristic, environment-friendly automobiles, then present three-dimensional models and marketing plans to judges. Trophies and cash may be the destinations students have in mind, but along the way, they learn about teamwork, finance, technology, and communication. And who knows, their dreams may find the way to your garage. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. What could we have in common with the big boys of racing? The details will come gushing out when I come back. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Another ethanol myth debunked. Myth is that ethanol production uses too much water. Truth is that since 2001, ethanol producers have lowered water requirements by 47%, and only 15% of all corn grown in the U.S. is irrigated. The rest is rain-fed. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org. The golden boys of racing may be slick on the track, but when it comes to motor oil, the playing field's almost even with street drivers. Racing engines, like our engines, need oil to lubricate and reduce friction. And NASCAR drivers use the same brands and types of oil we use. Just one little difference. We typically change our oil every 3,000 miles or 3 months. But the demand on a race car's engine has pit crews changing oil every 500 miles. On the track, that's every 4 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Geppetto turned a puppet into Pinocchio. Siegfried and Roy transformed lions into kitty cats. But I'll tell you how to turn a 60-pound human into a 2,700-pound elephant when we come back. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. American ethanol producers are fully engaged in the race to the next generation. Since the ethanol molecule is identical across sourcing types, many existing ethanol biorefineries are exploring bolt-on technologies that will enable production of ethanol from both grain starch and cellulosic material at the same facility. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. There's nothing magic about turning a small child into the equivalent of a small elephant. It's tragic, and it doesn't happen on stage, but in your car. Here's how the trick works. Drive your car 30 miles an hour with your 60-pound child in the back seat without a seatbelt and have a sudden collision. The impact physics of that crash transforms a 60-pound child hitting the windshield into the force of a 2,700-pound elephant. So please, let your magic trick be sleight of hand. Buckle your child's seatbelt. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. Yesterday we talked torque, using Egyptians to illustrate the force that pushes your car. Today, it's a trip to Scotland. Now don't horse around, because when we come back, I'll be in full gallop. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. According to economic research firm Cardno Intrix, the ethanol industry added $42.4 billion to the U.S.'s gross domestic product. And the production of 13.9 billion gallons of ethanol supported 90,200 direct jobs and over 311,000 indirect jobs across this country. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Okay, it's time to pony up the info on horsepower. Scotch engineer James Watt coined the term to quantify a horse's ability to pull coal from a mine. He scientifically calculated the work produced by an average pony in 1 minute, then whimsically added 50% and called the unit 1 horsepower. This Loch Ness monster-size measure of testosterone, calibrated for engines at peak RPM, is now used to size up vehicles. But don't award the trophy yet. Tomorrow, we'll look a gift horse in the mouth and put him in a Roman chariot race with torque for MPG. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. When it's raining, do you hold your breath as your car struggles to start or runs rough when it does? There's a simple way to locate ignition parts that act up with the weather, and when I come back, I'll tell you all about it. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Americans are outspoken when it comes to choice, so why not at the pump? Opponents claim that drivers will be confused with choices like E15 and E85. This objection is confusing, as studies show that Americans do want a choice. Soon, blender pumps will empower consumers to tailor fueling options to include the ethanol level best suited to their needs. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. In damp weather, if your car runs rough until it warms up, the problem might be moisture shorting out worn ignition wires. To troubleshoot, shops use a $25,000 scope, but you can use a $2 bottle of Windex. That's right, Windex. Here's how. With engine idling and AC on, spray each spark plug wire with Windex. When the Windex hits the bad wire, the engine will misfire. Next, spray the distributor cap, coil wire, and coil. With each part, listen and look for the engine to stumble or shake. When it does, you've found the culprit. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Good morning, folks. Welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house. Ride along with me this hour, and let's talk some cars. And also, I have some tips from MPT. I never could figure out what MPT stood for. I went on their site, but it's some magic potion. Maybe it's magic potion number 9. Who knows? But it's all about detailing your automobile. And Jonathan Sloan, who is the director there of our chat rooms and also our chief logger, put together some tips for me, for you. And it's about washing your car, and spring is finally here. And I'll share that with you along the way. Also, I have a little trivia. And I just decided before the show that I'd throw this out there. And when I come back, we'll open the phones. John Thielen's back in the house. JT is back in the house. Yes, it's great to have him. And Kevin, as always, 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by General Tire, now the official tire supplier of the ARCA Racing Series. Learn more at GeneralTire.com, and while you're there, check out General Tire's full line of technologically advanced tires like the Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver, and that would be you. It would be you, because you're going to call and you're going to tell me which dealership group is the largest in the U.S. I'll be back after the break. From the Car Clinic inbox, James writes, I recently noticed the front tires on my Subaru are worn, but rear tires seem okay. Can I change just 2? James, today's vehicles run on the sum of their parts to make themselves whole. Traction control, analog brakes, crash avoidance systems all require key information from your vehicle's tires. If you're driving an all-wheel drive vehicle, then tires are especially critical in ensuring the all-wheel drive system does its job and keeps you safe. Changing just 2 tires instead of 4 can compromise all-wheel drive operation and, in some vehicles, even cause wear and damage to the all-wheel drive components. When replacing tires, always check tread depth and condition. Rotate your tires at required intervals and check owner's manuals for specifics. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn about the new Grabber HTS 60, featuring General Tire's newest wear improvement technology that improves tread life up to 25% over the original Grabber HTS. That's GeneralTire.com. History is full of automotive breakthroughs, like in-vehicle air conditioning in 1939 and airbags in the 70s. Now Shell is proud to introduce another automotive breakthrough, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, featuring an innovative additive package with patented technology. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline protects against all 3 main types of engine performance threats: gunk, corrosion, and wear. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline provides the best total engine protection you can buy. It actively cleans intake valves and fuel injectors and shields critical engine parts against future buildup. The result is a cleaner, more efficient engine that will operate at optimum performance. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, proven in industry standard tests and recommended by BMW M Series. Don't give your engine just any premium gasoline. Choose a breakthrough. Choose Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Learn more at shell.com/US.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Like Shakespeare, we ask the question, what's in a name? Ours is pretty blah. We're Geico, not to be confused with Gecko, a small tree lizard. And no, Geico doesn't have a sister company named Girl Co. So, in the absence of a perfect name, focus group tested for hipness, we offer car insurance at a fair price. In 15 minutes, you could save 15%. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Our name may not be cool, but saving money always is. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
I tend to put things off. For example, I put off getting a home equity line of credit for a while. Then one day, when I should have been doing my laundry, I went to LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form and got 4 offers back within hours. Then I chose the line of credit that was right for me. Who knows? I may even get around to using it someday.
When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And a special welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I have in my hot little hands a dealer.com. Actually, it's sponsored by dealer.com. The top 150 dealership groups based in the U.S. And this is ranked on 2015 new vehicle retail sales units. So the trivia question to you, if you should want to take on this task, and I will reward you with something. I don't know what that would be. That's up to the team here. Whatever we have in the war chest, in the closets there, which will really be kind of cool. It's always something cool, you know. You come up with something. So the question to you this morning is, which group is the largest in the United States? And believe it or not, in this top group, number 19, well, not in the top, but in the top 250 or 150, is Earnhardt Auto Centers, and they did 57,000 total units for the tune of $1.45 billion, and that's just a tenth or so of what the top nation did. So 888-227-2546, 888-227-2546. John Thielen will take your, JT will take your calls, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. DeLorean sports car back into production. I've sat on this paper for 3 or 4 weeks now, and we thought about calling Stephen Wynn. In 1995, a mechanic named Stephen Wynn started a new company with a DeLorean motor name, and he purchased the parts and the logo of the original company. His company near Houston restores the original cars, and he has a small number of authorized dealerships. I don't know what a small number would be, probably a couple of 3, but I'm sure he does a lot of repairs and restorations of the DMC 12 sports car with the gull wing doors. You remember that one, Back in the Future, Back to the Future. But the future is now. The DeLorean is back in production, so it's really interesting, and that was released in January. So I've shared this with you, and we had several emails that folks sent to me and said, well, Bobby, that's really interesting. Why don't you have that guy on the radio with you? And I have not reached out to him, but I do plan to do that and ask him how it's going. The refurbished DeLoreans cost $45,000 to $55,000. Now, that's when I say refurbished, if you take one to him, it's a regular car. I've worked extensively on that car when it was new and as it got older. And the engine was a Volvo engine that was over-sophisticated and really should never have been put into that car. What DeLorean should have done is taken a little Ford 260 or something like that, or some lightweight engine, and used versus the engine that he used, because it was an American-made car, but it was a foreign engine, and it had the Bosch K-Jetronic fuel injection system. And of course, because we are a Bosch authorized service center, my service facility is, well, actually it was the first one in the state of Florida and the 8th in the nation, we were familiar with it, and so we could work on it. But the combination of the Volvo engine and the Bosch and the funky transmission that they put in it and the lack of power that it had really made it a lackluster car. And the front wheel brakes were like go-kart brakes. They really were not adequate at all. The speedometer was driven by the left front wheel, So as you went down the road, the speedometer cable, no electronics back then, the speedometer cable went through the left front spindle, and the grease cap, after you put the nut on, would actually turn the not the nut, but the grease cap itself that was turning with the wheel would drive the speedometer cable, and that would drive the speedometer. And it worked okay. It was nothing wrong, except this car had the gull wing doors, and it had little small window panes, if you remember, and those window panes would roll down, but even so, you could barely get your arm out, and it was kind of claustrophobic, if you will. And this doctor, a friend of mine, had this car, and he carried a hammer with him, break out windows. And if you ever had it upside down, he could break the window out and get out of the vehicle. I don't know where he kept the hammer, but in an accident, or if you're upside down, the hammer's going to be loose and flying around. But I don't know if he ever mounted that hammer. Knowing him, I'm sure that he did. But he showed it to me one day. He was proud, and he said, "Look what I have." I said, "What are you going to do, Keith? Are you going to work on your own car here with a hammer now?" He laughed at me. He said, "Well, you've been using a hammer for 2 years working on my car." No, that's not true. Well, it's close. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Okay, so we'll take a call, and we're going to hear from Dennis. And the question of the trivia of the morning is, there are top 150 dealership groups based in the U.S. Which one is the number one? And let's go to Dennis and ask. Dennis, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. So
Good morning, Bobby. How are you today?
I'm fine. How about yourself?
Doing great. A little rainy here in Daytona Beach. Mad Dog Mike Multane said hello to you.
Mad Dog. How long have you known Mike Multane?
About 12, 14 years now.
He was in the food industry before coming into the media world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. He worked with the Root family, and he was food and beverage and restaurant, and he ran the whole business. And the reason they call him Mad Dog is when he came in, there are 3 to 5 stations there, WNDB and of course 93.5 FM. But then they had the Hog, the other FM stations under that same roof.
Oh yeah.
And so he's walking down the hall one day, and there's some FMers, the guys from the FM station with the green and red and purple hair, and of course here's a guy that was in his midlife, and he decides to change what he wants to do, and he came into radio, and some one of those FMers gave him the name Mad Dog. He said, "Well, you got to be crazy," but I'll tell you what, he's done a whale of a job. He's the column that holds that whole station up. I can tell you that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, so you know the answer, Dennis?
I believe I do. It's AutoNation.
You are right. You are exactly right. And I'll tell you, I didn't know that. But the Penske is number 2, and AutoNation did $20.8 billion. They have 254 dealerships, and they sold 644,000 units. Now, that's a lot of new cars. And Penske sold 523,000, almost 524. He has 263 groups, and he did $19.28 billion. So it's just amazing. Care to guess where? Do you know any other groups? Are you familiar with dealer groups?
Yes. I actually, a little background, I actually worked for AutoNation for about 8 months, and I wanted to try the dealership world. I'm in the business also.
Well, so you knew the answer before the answer was known.
As it came out of your mouth, Bobby.
Yeah, I know. You knew it before I read it. Well, you'll be interested to know that Hendrick is number 6, and he did 258,000. He's got 101 dealerships, $7.9 billion. And Lithia Motors, I wasn't familiar with Lithia Motors. Were you familiar with them?
No, I've never heard of them either.
Yeah, neither nor I. But Sonic, we've all heard of them.
Yep, heard of Sonic.
Yeah, they're out of Charlotte. Let's see, and I mentioned Earnhardt. I really didn't know that Earnhardt is that Dale Jr. or was that his dad that owned the dealerships? Or do you know?
I think it was his dad. I believe.
Probably so. Well, you know what? Dennis, let me put you back on hold, and JT is going to get your address and information. And congratulations, you won whatever it is that we're going to send, but you'll like it. I guarantee that. That's going to be really way cool. I see the phones are starting to light up, and Folks, we'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. We've got Jim from Detroit, our Car Clinic reporter, and we're going to be coming to him. Also in the queue is Chris Lalonde, and Chris is from Detroit as well with OnStar, so he's going to be joining us. So we've got a great show lined up for you today. I want to give you these car tips because I promised that I would. So spring is here, and that's the time to check your vehicle for those, minor body damage that happens during the winter. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that when you loan your car to someone, if you ever do, and you get it back, you automatically find dings that you didn't know were there. And you say, well, did you put that on my? No, it was there when I got it. So after the winter time, when you have driven your car a week, 3 or so, or a month without washing, that's when you're supposed to wash it. And you can use the right kind of sort of water, but you can use the right kind of wash. And MPT is a wash concentrate. Now, this is not a sponsor. This is just information that we found and Jonathan gave to me, and I thought it would be kind of neat to share that with you. It's a highly concentrated pH balanced formula, and that's important so that it doesn't water spot. For more information, you can go to mptindustries.com and look under their products. But you want to use also the detailing spray, and you can apply that between the washings and keep the car. One wash job can last you a couple of weeks or so if you'll stay on top of it. But there comes a time when you get that dust and dirt where you don't want to use anything but water and good car wash soap. Hey, when we come back, we've got Jim, and also we have Chris Lalonde from OnStar, and followed by Jim, and then followed by you at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love it.
Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car's battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. So be sure to choose a battery with power frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with power frame to be there start after start. Here's another reason to feel good about choosing a battery with power frame inside. It's manufactured using the latest sustainable processes. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. So the next time you need to replace your car's battery, make sure you choose one with power frame technology inside. Look for power frame on the outside, and know there's true strength on the inside.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. American ethanol producers are fully engaged in the race to the next generation. Since the ethanol molecule is identical across sourcing types, many existing ethanol biorefineries are exploring technology upgrades that will enable production of ethanol from a broader range of feedstocks. These bolt-on technologies will allow ethanol producers to increase volumes by converting both grain starch and cellulosic material into fuel at the same facility. Utilizing existing piping, storage, and loading infrastructures at current facilities may help lower the cost for the first commercial production of cellulosic and advanced ethanol. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
I'm 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great program today. Call with your questions at 888 Car Clinic. Now, folks, Car Clinic listeners and viewers know that I'm a super fan of technology, especially when it comes to cars. I was honored to chair the panel Connect Two Cars at a Consumer Electronics Show, and one can't think of cars and connectivity technology today without OnStar coming to mind. With us on the line now is Chris Lalonde, Director of Subscriber Services for OnStar. Chris, great to have you in the house. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Great to be here, Bobby. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm just really curious as to what's the latest and the greatest from OnStar. OnStar's been known for safety and security services on the road. Share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers, how far has OnStar come since its inception with its offerings for drivers?
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, OnStar has a history of paramount safety and security, but we're excited to be here today to talk to you about a couple new services we're launching with OnStar Smart Driver, as well as our proactive alerts. And then a current offer we have right now for customers that own a model year 2011 or newer vehicle, offering them 3 years of connectivity so that they can take advantage of our latest services, including select remote vehicle commands, vehicle health reports, and then access to our dealer maintenance notification.
So the proactive alerts, let's hone in on a proactive alert. Give us an example of a proactive alert.
Absolutely. So we're going to be launching proactive alerts. It's in beta right now, but come the May time frame, we're going to start to make it available to our consumers. 3 services we're going to launch with relative to the proactive alerts, our battery starter and fuel pump. So a good example there is proactive alerts will notify owners in advance of certain components or conditions before their vehicle performance is impacted. So instances such as if the vehicle senses that there's low voltage in the battery, it can send a proactive alert to our customers so that they can determine the appropriate actions to take from there before the actual battery either becomes dead or lower voltage, impeding on its ability to perform. Obviously, from there, the technology will continue to advance and will continue to add, features and services within that particular service to continue to just offer value add for our consumers.
So then the OnStar system itself is actually monitoring a vehicle as it goes along to check the health of that vehicle and then reports to the driver if there's a problem, a pending problem that could potentially put that car down on the road.
Correct. Yeah, and obviously it brings a ton of peace of mind for the customer above and beyond what they've come to know and expect from OnStar. But this really gives them critical vehicle information in advance of there being potentially a larger concern or failure that could obviously affect their driving. So definitely empowering them to keep their vehicle running at peak performance and equip them with information to make the best decisions.
And Chris, explain Smart Driver.
Yeah, so Smart Driver, we continue to listen to our customers. We continue to hear our customers want to be rewarded for being a good driver. So Smart Driver is designed to inform customers more about their driving habits and their behaviors. So things like hard braking, hard acceleration, number of times where the vehicle is traveling at or above 80 miles per hour. What they can do if they're interested in signing up for this program, they can opt in. What will happen is over a period of 90 days after the opt-in, we will collect information on their vehicle, on those features I just mentioned. That data is anonymized, so what happens is it's passed to an aggregator. We take that information, send a report back to the vehicle owner, and then at the end of the 90 days, we tell them whether or not they qualify based on their driving habits for potential discounts on insurance premiums. And at that point in time, the customer then is empowered to make a decision as to whether or not they want to move forward in the process and seek to get an insurance quote from one of our partners to save money on their insurance. So it's a great feature. like I said, our customers want to be rewarded for being a good driver, and the Smart Driver brings that service to light for our customers. And again, based on their driving behaviors, they can qualify for money-saving discounts, which everybody likes to save money.
Well, that's for sure. We're talking with Chris Lalonde, Director of Subscriber Services for OnStar. Chris, with most people connected to smartphones today, will drivers be able to monitor all of these services right from their phone?
We'll continue to evolve it. Right now what happens is they can log online. They can go online. Our website is mobile optimized, so they can access, their driving reports directly from their phone or traditional desktop. So, that information is directly at their fingertips. And then, like I said, at the end of the driving period, we'll send them a report, with an outline of their driving score. And then based on that score, they can determine whether or not they're eligible to be quoted for an insurance discount. And at that point in time, if they want to move forward, it's up to them to submit for a quote.
Well, certainly they can see how that particular vehicle has been driven, whether they drive it or someone else in their family drives it. I can see that that's a great benefit. OnStar is making it easy for drivers of model year 2011 and newer vehicles to take advantage, as I understand, of the latest connected car services, including the remote vehicle commands and vehicle health reports free for 3 years, as I understand. Share with our Car Connect listeners and viewers the details of this offering, and can anyone with a 2011 GM vehicle take advantage of this offer?
Yes, they can. We're really excited about this one, Bobby. As you mentioned, we have owners out there that have OnStar hardware in their vehicles. For those of them that are listening right now, if they're driving a model year 2011 or newer vehicle, all they need to do is press the blue button from inside their vehicle. They'll connect with one of our representatives. And tell that representative they'd like to take advantage of the 3 years of connectivity. What they'll get access to with that program is our remote vehicle commands through Remote Link, so the ability to remotely start and stop your vehicle. So for those cold mornings, if someone wants to get their car warmed up, they can log into the Remote Link app and initiate a remote start, just like they would from their regular key fob. It also gives them access to our dealer maintenance notification, which is our diagnostic monthly email reports, and then they can access those other services we just talked about as well too. Again, gives them access to these great connectivity features, giving them peace of mind, as well as helping them lower their overall cost of ownership, depending on what services they want to take advantage of. And then additionally to that, right, as they take advantage of these services, the ease of them, modifying their plan or taking advantage of other services becomes that much more easy for the customer because they are in a connected state. So if they want to add services on the fly, they can take advantage of that as well too.
Well, great services, all great services. One final question, Chris, a website.
Yeah, so customers can go to www.onstar.com. That's our homepage, and then from there, that'll basically give customers access to all the information that they need to know. There's more information about the services I just mentioned, and then there's information as well around how to connect if they do want to take advantage of these offers. Basically hit the button inside the vehicle. They'll speak to one of our professional advisors, and that advisor can get the process started for them.
Sounds like a plan to me. Chris Lalonde, Director of Subscriber Services for OnStar. Chris, thank you so much for being with Bobby Likis Car Connect today.
Thank you, Bobby. Have a great day.
That's really cool, though. You can just push the green button. So if you're in your car now and you want to push the green button, you can talk with someone. What I meant to ask Chris, and I forgot to ask him, is what percentage of renewals. And and the reason that I bring that up is we produced a remote broadcast from the RenCen, the Renaissance Center there in GM's building years ago, and actually from their studio that was manufactured by the same company that manufactured ours. And so as a result, the studio they have, which is like mine, a little different shape, was really very neat, and we interviewed a half a dozen people. That was really, really, really interesting. What I learned was that some of the folks that did not use, or let me back up, some of the subscribers to OnStar that felt that OnStar was only to be used for emergency, where you push the emergency button. The percentage of those people that would renew their subscription was greatly reduced over the standard subscription renewals, because those folks figured, well, I never use this, in an emergency, and I'm maybe they're retired and they don't drive much anymore. But the bottom line, for the people who used OnStar for directions and those easy things that you can use it for, the renewal rate was way up there. And so that's one of the points that we talked about several years ago. I'm surprised that Chris did. Maybe it's not a factor now. I don't know. But anyway, we'll move on. The phone banks are open. JT will take your calls, John Thielen, at 888-227-2546. I'd like for you to like me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis. And also on Twitter and Pinterest. Pinterest is really neat because we have in the shop, one of our boards on Pinterest is in the shop. And in the shop, we have reality repair, which is, in essence, a real automobile that we work on. And it shows you the picture of the vehicle. It gives you the complaint the customer has, and then it talks about that, which is the patient, we call it. And then the physician is one of our ASE Master Certified Technicians. And then the treatment, exactly how we correct that problem. And what's really neat is that you can see a vehicle that's torn apart, and you can see, like for instance, one of the vehicles we had needed a starter, and the starter was located under the intake manifold, which is really very difficult to get to. We could hear it click, but it would not work. And to that end, if the starter was completely in-op and you saw that you had voltage going to it, you could only, test it so far because you couldn't see the starter, you couldn't get to the starter, so you have to take the engine apart to get down to the starter, and that's a lot of work. You'll see those pictures at pinterest.com/Bobby Likis. And you stay tuned each week, and we'll share with you information right here and answer your car questions. For instance, gas mileage. Yeah, you better think gas mileage because gas prices are up. Gas prices are up in every region of the United States as we speak. $2.06 is the national U.S. average, with $2.57 on the West Coast. So definitely we're seeing an increase, but they're still down from what they were 1 year ago, this time last year, and they're up. And every week for the past 3 weeks, they've been up almost anywhere from 7 out of the 10 regions, but this week they're up in 10 out of the 10 regions, and those regions are East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, Gulf Coast, and Central Atlantic, and lower in New England. And I'll answer your car questions, and we'll take Jim, the Car Clinic reporter, when we come back from this break. Don't touch the dial. Your call's coming up. In the service bay this week is a 2012 Ford Mustang. The vehicle is idling rough, hesitating at stops, and the fuel trim is out of spec. Oil is dark and overdue. The car's not been maintained properly and is, to no surprise, not running well. Our diagnosis? We believe it's the fuel system, not just dirty, beyond dirty. Carbon has built up on the back of the intake valves and needs to be removed. The solution? New Fuel Pro Complete from Motor Medic. Fuel Pro Complete is a professional fuel system cleaning kit that's easy for DIYers to use. It's a simple two-step system and takes just 5 minutes. Most fuel system cleaners only clean through the gas tank. Fuel Pro Complete also cleans through the vacuum line, bypassing intake sensors to avoid any potential damage. The result? No more rough idles or acceleration hesitation, with improved power and performance. Visit FuelProComplete.com for more information, including a demo video and port locator with a list of vehicle makes and models.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with. And by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, here we go. 888-227-2546. Jim from Detroit, the Car Clinic reporter. Welcome to today's broadcast. Glad to have you in the house, sir.
Well, it's good to be here, Bobby. We're going to start off with some two big stories, and if we have time, we'll talk about cleaning up the car for spring, which I also have the same report you do, I think.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about what's going on in China. China right now has been adapting the liking of electric vehicles, and they're going to be selling them 3 times the amount currently because their people want an electric car. They see the efficiency. They see the importance to it. And personally, I hope one day to have one myself. For as little driving as we do, it would still be convenient not to fill it up at the pump. As you mentioned, prices are starting to go back up.
They are indeed. They are.
So this also affects Tesla when he sees China jumping into a greater appreciation of electric car. He'd like the same to happen here, and his acceptance by consumers affects what he's going to do too. He said that last month that it has started taking orders for its Model X in China, with deliveries to begin in the second quarter, giving customers in the world's largest automobile market the new sport utility vehicle before it even debuts in Europe. That car is definitely a car to focus on, as well as the Model 3. Now, the Model 3, they were so responsive to customers that can order it online or at their, they don't call it a dealership, they call it a Tesla store to order your car. And 42,000 people on the 31st of last month ordered a new car with $1,000 down. The car is 5-star rated to be the best safety car for the driver in America.
Wow, that's amazing. That number also was increased, as I understand, now to almost or a little more than 100,000 pre-orders. Now that it's had time to reach mass, and when you think about $35,000 times $100,000, it's in the billions of dollars. And you can make those orders for $1,000. And Jim, we talked about that in our service shop this week, and at least 2 of my my teammates said, you know, if I didn't have this new car that I'm driving, or if I had really the opportunity to get one of those cars tomorrow, I would trade my new car. And in fact, my general manager, Brendan Beasley, made the statement, and he drives a kind of a hot rod Subaru with a turbocharger and a lot of modifications and those sorts of things. He said, you know, I drive 15, 18 miles or whatever it is to work every day and back. He said, I'd love to have one of those. I'd never buy gas another day in my life. And there's a lot to be said for that. And also when you think about the pollution from transportation fuels. And to that end, that's just another one of the early reasons, early on, years ago, that I got on board with ethanol, because it's a cleaner burning fuel that provides the high octane that's needed for companies like Ford Motor Company to make their EcoBoost and GM to make their EcoTech engines. And, of course, SkyActiv and Mazda and all the other manufacturers, they're all using smaller engines with turbochargers to get increased gas mileage and what have you. So, but Tesla definitely, Elon Musk is doing, not only doing a great job, but has done a great job at his Gigafactory for his battery. Is going to be, it's the largest, as I understand, the largest building on the planet. And from a volume standpoint, it's only secondary to Boeing's plant, which is unbelievable. And those words came out of Elon Musk's mouth himself. But let me turn the mic back to you. What else did you bring us this morning?
Okay, Bobby, let's get back to the another thing about Tesla. You might wait for it for a year, the people that put in their advanced orders.
sure,
they have a car operational now and they can wait.
Right.
I had a real good story about Tesla where a person had the Tesla for a year and got back the same price they paid for it and were able to switch cars. So they are good stories that they do hold their value well.
Yes, no question. What else do we have, sir?
Okay, let's talk about spring cleaning your car. If I don't want the hard brushes that some auto car washes have, I prefer going to my car dealer that hand cleans the car. And if I was going to do it myself, I'm remembering your instructions that you start with the tires first and put the proper solution on that tire to keep the brakes clean and everything, and leave it saturate while you work on the rest of the car. When the car is complete, you have towels to dry it off, or you can buy a lithium battery blower where you can blow off every drop of water, I think, more effectively without streaking the car.
That's what I use. I do have a battery and a weed blower, a garage blower, and I use that for my car. It's especially important on my car because it has clear coat wheels, aluminum wheels that will spot. So it's important. Another thing that's important too, when you're really cleaning a vehicle and detailing it, the last thing that I do when I'm finished with my vehicle, totally finished, is I'll drive it down a half a block to the cul-de-sac and back, and have my foot on the brake so that I can dry the brakes off and get the rust off the brake calipers or the rotors. Because when you clean a car that thoroughly, the rotors will rust, and to that end, and for folks who are not interested in cleaning their car, you would be interested to know that that squealing noise that you hear occasionally, that by the time you get to the shop is not there, when you back out of your driveway at one time in the morning, is the accumulated rust on the rotor overnight. And that can happen whether you wash your car or not, because and especially in a humid climate like we are, we're in the tropics here in Florida. So those are the kind of things that you don't think about. But it's a real challenge, and to that end, I actually had a challenge with my other car that I didn't drive often, and I cleaned it, washed it, pulled it in the garage, and didn't go dry the brakes down the street and back. And as a result, the pads stuck to the rotor, and when I backed up, it would bang because I had to break them loose. And then finally one day, it actually ripped the pad off of the backing plate. I mean, I've experienced that personally, so. And this was a high-performance car with a high-performance brake pad on it, so that's just another thing. In closing, what else do you have anything else for us?
Right, with baseball season come up with the new Model 3 Tesla car, you can summon the car from your phone if you forgot what parking lot or garage you put it in. The car meets you outside the stadium, and I think people are going to expect that off of cars more and more often. Tesla, anything they put in, people want, because Tesla usually does it first.
Yeah. Well, hats off to Elon Musk, and hats off to Tesla, and hats off to you, Sir Jim. Great call today. I thank you for your report, and we look forward to getting you back in the house next week.
Okay, Bobby. Bye-bye.
Bye. 888-227-2546. 888 Car Clinic. Mac from Oklahoma. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding, Mac.
Yeah, well, I'm the one that's got that Colorado 2004 Chevy pickup with that tick in it. I took it to the Chevrolet place, and he said it wasn't a hydraulic lifter, but he wanted to put it on the machine for 30 minutes. Can he tell what that is?
Not without taking the motor apart.
Well, I didn't think he could. I said that wouldn't do him any good.
Well,
he wanted to put it on the machine.
Well, I don't know. You know, there could be a lack of communication here. You have an engine noise in the upper valve train. Is that correct, from what I understand?
Yeah. It's got tappets. Its valve sits sideways, and they come out of the head in a V shape, and got to have a rocker arm right under the cam. You know, it works both valves at once.
Right. Well, then let me ask you this question.
It's got rollers on the rocker arm.
Yes. So let me ask you this question. Can you tell with the engine idling and the hood open which side of the engine is making the noise?
Yeah, I got one of them ear things, and when it first starts ticking, it's on the driver's side on the back end.
Well, then I would say,
then when it gets real hot, you can hear it about anywhere, you know.
Yeah. Well, Mac, here's what I would suggest. Why don't you go back to the gentleman, the technician that you're talking with, or are you talking with the technician or the service desk individual?
Oh, he was a mechanic. He
Okay.
retired. He said, I used to be the mechanic. I'll come out and listen to it.
Okay.
And but could you get on the internet and get any information on that?
Yeah, that wouldn't fix your car.
No, it wouldn't fix it. It might tell me what it is.
Well, you know, you can find anything on the internet, and some good, some not so great. But the bottom line, here's what you need to do. It sounds like, number one, you need to have a conversation with another shop. Number two, it sounds to me like the individual that is going to check your car needs to have and use a stethoscope like you talked about. We call them ears, and listen to the noise and verify with you that there's a noise that exists, and here's the general area, and then here specifically hone in on that area. And then the next step would be to take that rocker cover off and look at the rockers, look at the push rods, and see if you see anything worn. I mean, that's the typical. I mean, there's nothing like disassembling something and inspecting the parts. And if there's a worn part, you're going to find it. And I mean, unless it's just so minor. And then you've of the decision, well, is it a rocker? Is it a push rod? Is it a valve guide? Is it a cam shaft? Is it a roller lifter? I mean, all of those things move. In fact, at those NASCAR engines, a valve lifter moves 75 times a second.
Yeah, it don't do it cold, but it just takes about 5 minutes, you know, it's got to get the metal
Well,
hard,
to me, that sounds more like a valve guide than it does a rocker. But still, don't take my word for it, because there's nothing like hands-on. Somebody's going to have to be hands-on, Mac, and you're going to have to trust someone, and you're going to have to turn the car. Now, I don't think that you're going to hook up a machine and find this problem, because you're not looking for an engine skip or a check engine light or an injection problem. You're looking for an engine noise that you can hear from the outside using a stethoscope. Therefore, you have to take the engine apart to find out what's on the inside causing that noise to be audible. Okay?
Yeah, you couldn't get on the internet, could you, and try to get some information?
Well, you could.
Well, I ain't attached to that, and I just thought maybe you might.
No, I don't use it. I don't use the internet.
You don't?
During my program?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have anything in front of me but the screen that says Mac with an 04 Chevrolet. I don't.
Oh.
Yeah. I have a live. All of my conversations. Thank you. All of my conversations are live and spontaneous and from the heart and from the what brains I have left. Okay. Hey, man, thanks very much, and good luck to you. Oh, I misunderstood him. I did. I really did, Kevin. I thought he meant you couldn't, by you, meaning virtually, he couldn't get on the internet, but he meant me. Well, no. I mean, I'm your information source, but I'm not your whatever it is that you call those people that would do that. Don't go there, right? 888-227-2546. I want to congratulate Becky and John. Becky, if you look at our Facebook this week, you'll see that a lady called me last week, and they were headed to the dealership in Marion, Mercedes-Benz of Marion dealership, and to pick up their new Mercedes. And the irony is that I thought they were going to buy a C as in Charlie, CLA, but they didn't. They bought a George, a GLA, and it is drop dead gorgeous. They sent to my team a picture, and then my social media team put this on Facebook and I guess Twitter and Pinterest. I don't know if it went on Pinterest or not, but it went on all of our social media. So I guess it did. And maybe in another hour of today's broadcast, we'll get a call from Becky and John from driving while they're driving in their brand new Mercedes. And she had a Nissan that had to have a transmission and needed a lot of other things. And you know, folks, that's where the difficulty comes in. How much money do you spend on your used car? When do you know when to hold them and when to fold them? Yeah, when should you sell that car? Number one, if the car stays in my garage or your local automotive repair shop's garage more than it does in your garage, and then you look at the money you spend on the car. Now, just because you spend money on the car doesn't mean that you should throw the car away or throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, because all machines must be maintained. And that's just typical. So if you drive a vehicle, if you drive the new, and I've said this many times and still stands very much so today, if you drive the new off a vehicle, you must replace some of the new as you go along. Otherwise, you'll get to a certain point in that car's life, in your life, where your pocketbook will start to pay for what could have been saved had you serviced that car early on. In fact, a program that we created in our service shop during our years of service work is called pre-repair, which is for the prevention of repair. And for every dollar that our customer spends on pre-repair, they save $6 on repair. And we have the stats and the numbers and the data to prove that. And so when you take your car into a service shop and a service shop shows you where this fluids are tainted or have toxins or dirty, listen and pay attention, and then tick your calendar, whether it's a budget from a time standpoint or financial standpoint, and have that shop to keep your car and maintain your car in excellent running condition. I got to run because that's the end of this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in every week. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Here's an email from a Car Clinic listener. David writes, "What's the amber light on my dash? It looks like a cork pointing at an angle to a picture on the side of the car. This light has been on and off for about a year now, and I think it's time I check it out." Well, David, no time like the present. The light indicates a detected failure that could allow gasoline fumes to evaporate into the air, costing you money in lost fuel and polluting the air. Most common failure that trips the light? A small evap leak, or in other words, loose fuel cap. Besides being tight, the cap must also be in good condition. Fuel caps don't last forever, and poor quality caps don't work well from the beginning. Stant makes a large line of fuel caps that will last a very long time and ensure proper sealing of the system. Stant fuel caps are the only aftermarket caps to include all the safety features of the original equipment cap. Visit Stant.com or ask your local parts store for a Stant gas cap by name.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last month I'm in Africa when this wildebeest charges me. We butt heads and he's history. After I pull my guide from the jaws of an alligator, I dig into some beef jerky. I get heartburn. I take out my Rolaids as I'm fighting off a wild boar. In under 10 seconds it starts working. Then the boar is bye-bye. My heartburn's gone.
Rolaids starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolaids starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
While Johnny Kim was getting ready for the first customers of the day, Someone else was looking at Larger's face for his growing business. At 3 o'clock, while the Curtis family was watching their daughter's soccer game, someone else was walking a prospective tenant through one of their apartment buildings. And while Carmen Delabar was preparing for a fashion show, someone else met with an appraiser about her investment property. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1 minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Welcome, folks, to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Sit back and let's have some car fun. I'll share with you some information that you probably couldn't get anywhere else. And also, speaking of that, ADAS, that stands for Advanced Driver Assistance System. And it really is way cool. It's how autonomous cars will be driving all by themselves. And then, no, I'm not going to do a whole show on autonomous cars, so don't even worry about that. I'm going to take your calls at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. In fact, JT is back in the house, John Teelan, and he will take your call. So, you know, he's been away for a while, so be gentle with him. JT, that's his name. Johnny? John helped me to build this studio some 25 years ago. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You're looking for the right tool for the job? Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Power Torque DIY Days sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale, everything from socket sets to ratchets to wrenches and pliers. And everything is guaranteed for life. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today for the Power Torque DIY Days sale. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Your calls at 888-227-2546 when I come back. Let's get it cranked up. This vehicle maintenance spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Nothing's more important than your vehicle's brakes. Though there's no substitute for scheduled maintenance, also be on the lookout for signs of trouble, like your car pulling or a shuddering steering wheel. Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to help you choose the brakes that are an exact fit for your vehicle. Brands you trust like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermoquiet at guaranteed low prices. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to state-of-the-art engineering, strong, consistent starts are exactly what you get with PowerFrame Grid technology. Batteries that use PowerFrame Grid technology provide superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you. In the service bay this week is a 2010 Nissan Frontier. According to its owner, fuel economy is down and the vehicle is hesitating upon acceleration. Typically, this model vehicle can suffer from engine deposits for a variety of reasons. With no diagnostic codes or check engine light to work with, engine fuel trim is telling the tale. Our conclusion? Carbon buildup on the throttle body, intake valves, and piston tops. The answer? New Fuel Pro Complete from Motor Medic. Not your everyday fuel system cleaning kit. Fuel Pro Complete cleans both fuel and intake sides of the system. Most fuel system cleaners only clean through the gas tank. Fuel Pro Complete also cleans through the vacuum line. For newer cars, it cleans the top of GDI engines. For older cars, Fuel Pro Complete tackles traditional fuel system cleaning and intake cleaning. Visit FuelProComplete.com for a demo video and port locator with a list of vehicle makes and models. That's FuelProComplete.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a face. And Regency Hospice delivers more faces to you and your loved one when life matters most. Faces of nurses, nursing assistants, social workers, and chaplains. Regency skilled, compassionate professionals deliver comfort and individualized care. When that time of life comes to you, Regency Hospice will be there for you. Go to RegencyHospice.com for more, including Hospice for Heroes Veterans Recognition Program.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Sit back and let's talk cars. I'll open the phone banks at 888 Car Clinic. And you can give me a shout if you have a question, or if you have maybe a shop that's done you a good job and you want to promote that shop, whether it's across the nation, any state in the nation, feel free to do that, because those of us in the business really care. And I say that with all sincerity. We have our team is the best team we've ever had now, and every day that we're met with challenges, and those challenges can be, and I know you feel this way, folks, from the other side of the desk, because you're the car owner and we're the service provider, is what's wrong with my car? What will it take to tell me what's wrong with it? Now that's the first question. And so that's a question that a lot of folks don't understand, because they think we could hook this one machine to a car and it tells you everything that's wrong with the car. And there never has been a machine like that. Today's cars, with all the computers on board, of course, are very sophisticated and do give our technicians a general area of where there's a problem may be. And there's a difference between reading a code in a vehicle and reading the architecture and getting into the architecture of the vehicle. There's a gatekeeper, and all vehicles, gatekeepers, lock out unsophisticated, non-professional readers, so you can't get in there, so that the novice couldn't get in there and cause a problem. And you say, well, what could you cause by reading the code? Well, you really can't cause a problem by reading the code. What you can cause is a problem by eliminating a code, by clearing the codes. Because, so the reason I bring this up is so many people said, well, can't you just clear the code and I'll drive it, and if it comes back on? Well, on occasion, when we have a challenge pinpointing, after we exhaust an hour's worth of test time, pinpointing what's causing that light to come on. Now, when I say pinpointing, anytime the light is on, there's a code there. But there could be a dozen codes. And it just doesn't make sense you'd have a dozen problems with the same car. However, you could have 1 or 2 problems with a car, and each one of those problems could affect another series of boxes in that car. So 1 will get you 2, will get you 5, will get you 8, will get you 12. And if there are 30 boxes in a car, you could have as many as 15 codes in an automobile. I see that on a regular basis. So what do you do in a case like that? Well, first, what do we do in a case like that? Let me back up. What do we as the professionals do for you as the owner of the car in a case like that? Number 1, we don't use a $35 read a code that you can plug into a dongle, you can plug into your port and use your phone. we don't use that kind of equipment because that only gets you, it only leads the horse to the water, literally. And it only reads the codes, but it doesn't go any further, any deeper. So we have to go into the architecture of the, and I'm not getting too technical here, I don't intend to do that, but I want you to understand what's necessary to properly diagnose and test and give you the answer that you need as to what's wrong with your automobile. So we actually read the codes with our scan tools that could cost, one of my technicians just bought one, paid a little more than $10,000 for the tool that he uses on a regular basis. And this week he set up a 40-inch television screen with HDMI inputs from his $10,000 tool and also his laptop. And he can wirelessly plug in the sender unit from the car's port and then use his tool to scan, which has a smaller screen, and it puts that picture or that lab scope on the big television screen. It's really quite ingenious, and he did a really great job. Guy Rayner, he just did a fantastic job, and I can't wait to see it in action. And I can't wait for him to show a customer in a larger screen view. And to that end, he just did that this week with a diagram of a particular part, and a customer needed a part, but we couldn't discern. It was a fax to us from the dealer. We couldn't really figure out there's so many parts on this diagram, so we blew it up on the screen. Lo and behold, that's the part we need right there. So there's a lot of reasons and methodologies that we're beginning to use now that take advantage of the technology. I said all that to say this. So you bring your car in, what we'll do is we will check the codes and read the codes, which we already know that you know that. But we will then go into the architecture of the software beyond the gatekeeper. And that means that we get beyond that reading of the code so that we can go in there and actually actuate the car. And to that end, the other day we had a Mercedes in here, and one of my technicians was activating the level ride control and had the car doing a dance, literally. It was teeter-tottering, just like you roll around. Right front dip, right front comes up, left front dip, left front comes up, left rear, right front, left front. It was really kind of neat. The car was going around in a circle, and he wasn't even standing near the car. He was just 15, 20 feet away from the automobile, using his laptop to exercise all of the level suspension of the car to make sure that it responded to the onboard computer correctly. And then he put it back to zero and let the car settle down and find its own stationary point. And that's part of the testing that we did to make sure that we actuated all of the actuators and that the sensors worked on the vehicle. Was quite a show that he put on there. And I said to myself, that reminds me of a lowrider, because that's exactly what he was doing. And I said that to say that after we run the codes and after we extract those codes, and then we see that we have X amount of problem areas, we freeze frame that. We will save that to the memory just to have, and then, and this is on a case where you've got too many codes and you couldn't possibly have that much wrong with the car. Although that's not necessarily the truth 100% of the time, or the facts 100% of the time. So we will freeze frame that, save it so that we have it, and then we will clear the code. Now you say, well, what do you do then? You have to go drive the car. Not only do you have to go drive the car, sometimes you have to drive the car through 4 warm-up cycles. So you have to drive it from zero off, lock, to start, initiate it, drive off, and drive 6 miles and come back and retest it. And this happens more and more these days. And that gives the computer a chance to relearn and review what's going on within its own body and within its own architecture. And then, sure enough, the light may or may not come back on. But let's just say that it comes back on. Then you read the code again. You will not have, and I have never seen this, and I rarely use the word never, almost never, but I've never seen a car that came in with 15 codes where you cleared the code and all 15 came back. It's generally 1, 2, or 3 codes that come back, and those 15 are just accumulative over a period of time. So it's really interesting that cars remember, and I'll give you an example. This one car that we had, of the codes that it had 12 faults out of 29 boxes. And one of the faults was the left driver's outside mirror did not respond to the driver's demand, which means that the driver tried to adjust the mirror and the mirror didn't respond. So that tells us that the switch that the driver used at the door or the dash, wherever that switch is, did send a signal to the body control module. And the body control module received that signal and sent that signal to the mirror, but the position sensor in the mirror didn't move. Therefore, the body control module said, I just told you to move, and you didn't move. And then the body control module reports that to the ECM and keeps that to the onboard computer and keeps that in memory. So this particular car that had the codes for the out of 29 modules, 12 or 13 codes, had a mirror didn't work, didn't respond for a tenth of a second. Same thing's true for the convertible retractable hardtop that it had on it. It's the same, code. Now, all of these systems worked if you got in the car and exercised them. But at one time or other, they didn't work properly for the owner. And the owner didn't know that, because if something doesn't work, you say, oh, what did I do wrong? I push it again, and it works. Even my car yesterday, as recently as yesterday, I fired up my car and the navigation system said initiating navigation system. It's never done that. It's never printed on the screen. And I drove it about 2 miles and it was still initiating the system. So I came into the office, shut it down, and waited for a good solid minute so that all of the computers could go to sleep and turn off. And then I fired the car back up, and that same screen came on, but in 15 seconds the system came up. So I know that and probably it was me playing with the buttons as I was going down the road, because in the middle of doing one thing, I changed my mind and did something else. The point is, that's how smart cars are. And I mentioned the Advanced Driver Assistance System, ADAS. I'll share a little more information about a company called Velodyne, Velodyne, and it's a LiDAR system. It's a sensor that's small enough to fit in a very small space, about the size of a hockey puck, and roughly 3 times as tall. And I'll tell you what it does when I come back, and then we'll take Victor's call and Walter's call and yours at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. With 13.9 billion gallons of domestic ethanol production, America required 485 million fewer barrels of imported oil. When you think about all the reasons to replace foreign fossil fuels with American renewables, consider this quote by Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus. Secretary Mabus says, there are great strategic reasons for moving away from fossil fuels. It's costly. Every time the cost of a barrel of oil goes up $1, it costs the U.S. Navy $31 million in extra fuel costs. But it's costly in more ways than just money. For every 50 convoys of gasoline we bring in, we lose a Marine. We lose a Marine killed or wounded. That is too high a price to pay for fuel. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org. Time to go to the Car Clinic inbox. Scott writes, Bobby, the engine in my Land Rover overheated, so I performed a radiator flow test and found poor circulation and a bunch of stop leak in the radiator, which I assumed the previous owner added. I decided to replace the engine, which I'm proud to say I did myself. But that engine ran too hot also, by about 20 degrees, so I installed a new thermostat. But even with the new parts, there was minimal change in temperature. After 2 more replacement thermostats, I went with your advice, used a Stant Superstat, and the problem was immediately fixed. I noticed that the Superstat was much closer to the design of the original part, and that the Superstat was heavier than the cheaper ones I purchased. I really could feel and see the difference. Thank you, Scott. Stant Superstat is our choice and the choice of professional installers everywhere. Visit Stant.com for all the advantages of the Stant Superstat. That's Stant.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip
from Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Frank Botex.
What I love most is getting customers to smile in the morning. Starbucks is just a place to come and relax, kick your feet back. I mean, it's a second home. Starbucks is now in a grocery store, and what better way to just become your own personal barista at home? You go to the grocery store, pick up some coffee, take it home, let the aroma take over your body.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee, at grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I was speaking about check engine lights codes before the break, and so I'll close that segment of the program, or at least that conversation, with this. And here's your takeaway. When you have a check engine light on, it's not about reading codes that will give you the answer that you need. It's about going into the architecture of the vehicle and learning what caused those codes to come on. And if you've got a catalytic converter code or an oxygen sensor code, it doesn't mean that the cat's bad or the O2 sensor's bad. It means that those particular parts of the car aren't doing their job or are having problems doing their job, and it could be caused by other things in the automobile. So have this conversation the next time you have to go into a service shop. Spend some time with your service director and convey and learn what that service director, and ask, what are you going to do in my car? What will you be able to tell me? And agree that, okay, I'll agree to pay you 1 hour of time. And in that hour of time, that service technician should be able to go to the next step and give you some sensible answers as to what's going on with your automobile, other than a loose gas cap. Because, folks, there are not as many loose gas caps out there as what you all believe. And having said that, now let's go to Washington and take a call from Victor. Victor, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. On these electric cars, how do they, an electric motor, it takes off, all the ones I've seen, and they have a certain speed, and that's it. How do you go faster and slower? Do they have a transmission and clutch, or are they able to slow up the electric motor?
Well, that's good. That's a good question. They obviously have to have some kind of transmission, some kind of a reduction in RPM. I just witnessed, in fact, last evening, how cars are made, and this is a show that's on television, and they had the Bugatti on there. They had the Koenigsegg, which is the fastest car. At one time was the fastest production car on the planet. And then they had the, let's see, what was the last one? i8. Yes, the BMW i8. And by the way, the BMW i8 for probably the biggest EV bang for the buck that you can get. Just unbelievably fast. And one of the, as they were going through, and I like the show, except for the music in the background. I literally abhor the music in the background. It's I don't know where they got that music, but it's like calling AT&T and being on hold, and AT&T on hold has this I mean, it's like they put you on hold, and then they play this music that is torture. And I say that with absolute conviction, because I've been there, and if you've ever tried to reach out to them, you know that hold means a lot. Must mean a lot to them. So the bottom line is, getting back to where I was, the show showed the power plant and how they made the windings for the i8 motor, and they run 20 coils of wire, and then they heated up to 329 degrees, not 330, a maximum of 329 degrees, and they keep it, and then they dip it into an epoxy bath to solidify the windings and make them stand tall and to give them life. It was very interesting to me, and the bottom line, they mentioned during this broadcast that the electric motor maintained its torque, but also was able to provide torque at higher speeds. And you and I have driven golf carts, and I've driven electric vehicles, and it's all show and go at the front, and then once you exhaust that, it'll get up to 30 miles an hour. So obviously, and there must be some transmission, Victor, that would allow that engine, because those engines are torquey engines initially. That's where the torque comes from, but they have to have some kind of a speed, or else, I mean, like the new the Model 3 that Tesla is coming out with has a top speed of 130 miles per hour. So you know that to go 130 miles per hour, there has to be some gear multiplication there somewhere, and I just don't know enough about that at this time, but I will very soon.
Yeah, that was a question in my mind, because I don't think they've made an electric motor where you can, well, maybe they have, by putting less juice into it, less electricity, that you can actually just slow it down and less power out of the torque end of the torque shaft out of the end of it, without burning it up. Usually, the old electric motors anyway, you couldn't do that. If you got too little juice, you'll burn them. They have to keep them rolling.
Well, you're right there, and one of the things that I noticed on the, and I believe it was the i8 factory, the battery pack, of course, they put the battery packs down low, which gives a low center of gravity, but they also are now using refrigerated components, so that the whole battery pack itself is located inside a unit that is real-time refrigerated. And if that's the case, then obviously they use some of that same cooling methodology for the electric motor. You know what I might do, which I think would be a great idea, and I wouldn't want to do an interview. I'd rather have someone in the house and promote the show ahead of time. We'll get someone maybe from Tesla, or Tesla, yeah, we should, as much as we talk about him, or someone other EV company. GM's making their own motors. In fact, their motor supplier that, gosh, Victor, for 40 years they supplied GM with motors, and then when GM decided to build electric cars, they decided they'd make their own motors, and the company got upset because they said, hey, we've had your back all this time. Now you're gonna be our competition. But of course, you're looking like Tesla did. They're looking into mass production. You got to really step up your game there.
Yeah, a torque converter. Of course, if they're using a torque converter, I guess by how much oil you put through, how much power you get to your gear train. But I don't know if they. Funny with they're selling the cars, you'd think that that'd be kind of common knowledge. What kind of a drivetrain, how they overcome electric motor and going faster and slower.
Well, we got a couple of phones that just lit up, so maybe, and we have the capability here of using a conference call, so perhaps someone that can answer those questions is on the line, and we'll just see John's answering the phone now. So we'll, you and I will hang here, and I see that Walter, I see you're in the queue with a question about how often to change oil. So Walter, you stay there, because I'm going to come to you in Texas as well. But Victor, one of the things that I mentioned early on about the autonomous cars, and now they got electric racing. This week I had the pleasure, one of my teammates sent me information on an electric race series where they're building open wheel race cars that are driverless, autonomous race cars. And I don't know, I don't know if you don't have a driver to root for, do you root for the car? And of course, one of the things about these cars, they had a lot of space because they had a lot of covering, a lot of body, more so than a standard. And so I'm just curious as to see what if that happens, But I will tell you this: as much as I've seen in the automotive industry change over the past 20 years, things are happening at a much faster pace now than ever before. And in fact, on this report that I have here, I want to share this with you. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Velodyne, the LiDAR sensor is small enough to fit in a small space about the size of a hockey puck, but it's about three times as tall. It spins and creates a 3D map of everything around it using 64 lasers with 10 millisecond return trip times. in 10 milliseconds. The blink of an eye is 200 milliseconds. So that's 10 milliseconds. The map that it creates is translated by software to create a picture of the world, and Velodyne does it better because it's more detailed. The software creates a map of your neighborhood and remembers it, so that if you drive back in your neighborhood again and there's a new stop sign, it recognizes that and tells you that, hey, there's new buildings here or new signs here or what have you. So
well, it's coming to a race between computer engineers and inventors, and everything is becoming computer controlled or electrical controlled or radio wave controlled, and that's where the competition is. And people are dropping out, and kind of like robots or something. It's kind of just taking over on everything. Eventually, they're just trying to put the people. I guess we just get in the car and sit in the seat, or go home and sit and push buttons, or.
I think all the above. I think all the above, and I think 50 years from now, when you and I are gone, there'll be two other people having the same conversation, talking about things that we don't even know that exist yet. But one thing's for sure, there still has to be someone that keeps the fleet rolling. Service is key, and service is one of the biggest challenges that we have in this country, and I would imagine on this planet. And that means a real human that's educated and knowledgeable and performs everything from human anatomy operations to automotive anatomy operations.
Yeah, it's tremendous. Yeah, and how those computers can remember all that stuff. It must be putting the memory into some kind of a
database. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But and when you shut the computer off and there's no electricity to it, the electricity isn't holding it, so it has to be like pushing little recognizable language into you'd think into dots like dots in a cardboard or a board, but it isn't that either. So how does it remember if everything's electrical? How does it remember when the electricity is off? And like you say, you let your computer sleep for 3 minutes, or Kevin, so it'll get straightened out again.
Let's ask Kevin. Do you know the answer to that?
I'm sorry,
Bobby, how does a computer? I know you were busy. I know you're busy. But how does a computer? Victor and I are talking about computers and that remembering. And I talked about the LIDAR system, where it makes a map of your neighborhood. And next time you come back in, if there's a new stop sign there, it gets it. So does a computer have a memory? I know there's a keep alive memory in a car, but does a computer have a way to remember the program that's put in it?
I would assume so. I mean, I
assume that, but you don't know.
I don't know. No,
okay,
sir.
All right. Well, Victor, that's another for another show.
Okay, we know more about what we don't know than anything else.
Well, you know what? There's a value in that. Now there's a man, that's a smart man, folks, because at one point in time in my life, and I have young technicians in my shop, the challenge that I've had with some of my smartest technicians is they don't know what they don't know. And as a result, they'll get halfway through some test and condemn a part. Victor, got to go. Break coming up. Thank you so much for your call, as always. And, folks, you stay tuned. We're going to come back. I see that Stan has a comment about electric motors and speed, so we're going to learn more when we get back. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire and the Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. Why do vehicles come with a tire that's rated to 150 miles per hour when everyday drivers don't drive that fast? A tire's speed rating indicates the maximum speed a tire is rated to spin before failure to perform as designed. But more than that, as speed ratings increase, tires are designed to perform better during conditions such as cornering, braking, and in emergency maneuvers. That's why you may find a V speed-rated tire on a vehicle that's electronically limited to a lesser speed. For the best performance, replace worn tires with the speed rating recommended by the vehicle manufacturer. The Ultimax RT43 is a stylish, all-season tire designed for a quiet, comfortable ride. And with technologically advanced features like replacement tire monitor and visual alignment indicator, the Ultimax RT43 really is a smarter tire for a smarter driver. Learn more at GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
You can call them used. You can call them previously driven. You can call them anything you want.
The point is somebody, maybe even a dozen somebodies, owned the car before you did. And before you put down your hard-earned dollars for the car, you deserve to know exactly where it's been. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history of any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
I, Dennis Walker, pledge allegiance to the roof. I know it'll be clean. I know it will be comfortable. And I know that if the phone rings when I'm in the shower, I can just let it ring. For I have voicemail. Red Roof Inn, one room, under budget, with free cable and local calls for all.
98% of Red Roof guests are so satisfied with their visit, they plan to come back. Now that's not just loyalty, that's allegiance. For reservations, call 800-RED-ROOF.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to today's broadcast. A lot of fun today and a lot of strange, electronics and computers and what have you. I mean, it's a car show, right? Is it? Well, yeah, autonomous cars and electric cars and we could talk about camshafts and fuel and those sorts of things as well. Let's talk about oil. Let's go to Walter in Texas. Walter, welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Walter.
Yes.
You're on the air.
My wife has a 2012 Honda Accord V6. It doesn't get driven a lot.
Okay.
It's got about 30,000 miles on it. And I keep watching for the little wrench to come up and tell me it's time to change oil. I don't think it's been changed in the past year.
I hear you. Well,
so my question, I guess, is I drive older vehicles and I just write down what the mileage was and change the oil in 3,000 to 5,000 miles, depending on the vehicle.
Right.
I call the Honda dealer and they say just watch for the little wrench. Is that the way it should be?
Well, that oil monitor, oil change light uses algorithms, and it measures using algorithms, nothing to do with the oil. Well, it has to do with the oil, but it doesn't touch the oil. It tells the computer that this vehicle, this engine, has been cranked so many times and run from a cold stand to a warm stand. It's been up to operating temperature and been under a wide open throttle or partial throttle so many times. And it collates all this information and determines from the algorithms a formula what the condition of the oil. Having said that, under no circumstances should you go beyond a year because she's obviously not driving much, and condensation is a factor, and that unit doesn't measure condensation. So by all means, you should set an anniversary. Hey, you should remember your wedding anniversary and say, okay, now I'm going to change your oil for you. Don't tell her I said that.
I guarantee you I'll remember that. I've been married 57 years, going on 58.
Then there you have it. We solved that problem. Change the oil on your anniversary, and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Thank you, Walter.
I appreciate the help.
Yeah, thank you for your help. Thanks for holding back, for calling back. I knew you were there for a while. We're going to go to Mark. Mark, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, thank you, Bobby. Love your show.
Thank you.
I have a question that maybe you can help me with. I've heard you reference you have a classic Porsche, and it sounds like you're a big fan. And I have a 79 Porsche 911 Targa.
Okay.
Has a pushing 260,000 miles on the car, but I've been the same owner now for 17 years.
Right.
And I'm interested in selling it. And I'm just wondering if you could give me a little advice on how best to do that.
Porsche Club of America would be, and see if there's a local chapter in your hometown.
There is.
Okay, then I would definitely start there. I would talk. Number one, that's a small niche market, as you know, and it's ironic that you should ask me, because for the last 5 years I've run hot and cold every other month, because I've had my car since 1986, and it's as new. I restored it, and it is drop dead gorgeous. And I'll think about selling the car because I don't drive it, and I choose not to drive it. And then I say, well, what if I sold it? I would, whatever money it would bring, I'd put in the bank. And I just, quite candidly, I love to show the car off. And I think the car is appreciating more than any money that I would have in the bank from the car at this time. But if the right person came along, and I've got a figure that I want for my car, and it's a conservative figure, because we all want more for our own car than it's probably worth, because we have that attachment to it and we think it's worth a lot until we want to buy a car. But I would start with the Porsche Club of America. For me, I intend to and wanted to this year, but I missed it, to take the car to Amelia Island to a Porsche event where true Porsche files would see my car and appreciate what it is, because mine was one of 406. It's a Weissach, which is the proving grounds in Germany. Only 406 were imported into the States in 1980. So if that helps, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was a little curious about your opinion on some of the well-known auctions, down in Southern California or the Bay Area or Arizona, if one should get involved with that.
Well, I've also had from Mecum, I've had John, and I forget his last name now. He's on our site, but I've had him on the air, and he said, whenever you're ready, Bobby, I can, I'll help you. He did tell me that it's best to, and you pay for, you pay to show the car, and you pay a percentage of whatever it brings to the auction, and then there's a reserve and a no reserve. He's a big fan of having a reserve because he believes that builds more value in the car, and you're not at the mercy of some hot dogs out there that can, maybe there are a couple of 3 people working the floor. I don't know how that works. For a short period of time, I was exposed in the car business for a very short period of time, and I learned what I don't know, and it cost me a lot of money. So I'm not familiar, nor do I wish to be in that arena. Having said that, I would tend to go with either Mecum or RT or whatever company is in alignment with Amelia Island, and those type of companies that are a little bit higher echelon than maybe the Arizona companies, or and I'm not familiar with the West Coast companies. But where do you live, by the way?
I live in Vancouver, Washington, just across the river from Portland, Oregon.
Well,
and listen to you on KBMP radio, AM 1410.
That's great. Well, I'm glad to hear you, and thank you for giving me that information. One of the things that, that I would do is I would check with the local Porsche, and then I would go from there and make a determination as to what that car might be worth. Number one, the first thing you have going against the car is the mileage. And my car, my car has 98,766, and but that doesn't mean anything because it's in better shape now than it was at 90,000 or it was at 80. But
yeah, I can say the same thing. I've the tune-up. I've had the compression is excellent. I've had it had the upgrade, the Carrera upgrade done to it, and maintained it just impeccably with the same service shop for 17 years.
Wow.
And
did you
had it painted, and it's looking real good.
That's great.
And as you know, these cars have gone up greatly in value.
They really have, especially the air-cooled, as I understand. Did you have the timing chain tensioner oil upgrade? Yes.
That's the upgrade.
Yeah. And
so,
did you ever have any cylinder stud upgrades, or did you not have problems with those?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that was an issue that 79 and 80 Porsches had, and the 80 came out with a special, and I forget the name of it, but special steel stud. And after the 9 years that my car was out of commission and I restored it, I had to replace the studs. Other than that, my engine is basically virtually unchanged from the factory, and it is drop dead gorgeous. I have pictures inside. It still has a crosshatch on the cylinder walls. Just absolutely gorgeous. So do this, Mark, and I'm so glad you called. Check with the Porsche Club of America there on the West Coast, and then let me put you back on hold, and give John your email address, and we'll stay in communication with emails.
Okay, I have your email address. I went to your website for the first time, so I can contact you.
Okay, well,
if that works.
Yeah, that's fine. Do that. Okay, that sounds great, man. I appreciate that and love to hear from you.
Okay, thanks, Bobby.
Thank
I sure
you, Mark.
appreciate your show and all your good work.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate your kind words. Let's go to Stan, and then we're going to go to Jeff in New York. Stan, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, sir.
I just had to call when you were talking to the fellow about the electric motors.
Yes.
And I was trying to think of a way to put it. One of the things that I can tell you, you recall, my profession is electronic engineering, so I've been involved with these things for a long time. Perhaps it's remember the Wankels and how many RPM those things would go.
Yes.
Well, a reason that they were able to do that is they don't have any reciprocating motion, right?
Right.
Everything goes in the same direction. If you could get your dragsters to go to 15,000 RPM, you would have loved it, right?
Right.
But they explode before they got there.
Yes.
Well, an electric motor doesn't have any reciprocating motion, so it just goes round and round. And it also has a unique feature of maximum torque is available at 0 RPM, locked rotor.
Right.
So they could burn the rear tires off of a car if you're not careful. So they have a control system, an electronic control system that controls the fields or the arm, depending on which they adjust. And you can get incredible RPM. You could get 20,000 RPM if you wanted it. There is a racing formula called Formula E, which is not autonomous. It's got real drivers in it.
Right.
It's racing now in its second or third year. And one guy tried a transmission with one gear, but they've taken it out now. So they just run them straight. These electric motors are amazing what they do, as you've observed with, I don't know if you've seen the drag strip test between the Tesla and the 700 horsepower Charger.
I have.
But
yes.
But the Tesla takes off like crazy, and the Charger tries its hardest to catch it. So the electric motors have great RPM range because everything's going in the same direction, around in circles.
So do you know if the I series of the i8 of the BMW, because they talked about having top speed and still have plenty of torque at top speed, do you know if they're controlling the field and the voltage, or if it has some type of a multiplier?
No, you don't need a multiplier because you got all that torque.
Okay. So how do you?
And I want that program.
All right. So if you got all that torque at low RPM, how do you maintain that torque at 10,000 RPM?
Well, it's as you'll recall, if you've done dyno work, you get torque out of the dyno.
Right.
You convert it to horsepower.
Right.
And what it is these electric motors, you can, as you control the current and the voltage, you can control that exactly how you want it. So the torque just continues at some level right on up through the RPM range, and eventually it will explode. This side of 100,000 RPM.
Well, yeah, sure.
Build it that strong.
Yeah, it's limited.
Now you saw how strongly they built that i8 motor.
Yes.
So that the windings wouldn't touch each other and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's what hurt it. That's what hurts them, is actually torque on those windings moving around.
Mm-hmm.
So they make sure that they don't move around.
Yeah, it was quite unbelievable. What did you think about the music behind that horrible?
I wasn't as irritated as you were.
I was. It was. I watched that one. After watching 3 of those episodes, I said, "Hey, I'm done here," and I got to take a call from New York. But thanks so much, Stan, for your input. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let's go to New York now and talk to Jeff. Jeff, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding, sir.
Hey, thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.
It's a sad day. Sad day up here today. I've got my cylinder head sitting on my desk.
Oh, what's that off of?
It's off of a 3-cylinder Iveco diesel New Holland tractor.
Oh, well, what's wrong with the cylinder head?
Well, nothing that I know of right now. I took it off for other reasons, but I'm looking in here at the valves. I found out when I went to take my intake valve. Just I'm not real happy with the quality of what I saw. They somewhere along the line, somebody had pinched that valve during installation, and so I had to machine it down a little bit to get it out of the guide. Then I want to clean up my valve seats.
Oh, you mean
you ought to see?
You mean the groove at the top?
The keeper. The keeper. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You had to take a file and turn it and
yeah, Dremel and dress it up so I could get it out without scratching.
But it wasn't the rocker or that flattened or mushroomed it.
Well, I don't know. At only 180 hours, this thing had stuck valve rods.
Ooh.
It was going ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh, popping me up. Wow.
Yeah. So 180 hours on a new, and we can talk about old cars and my old minivan and the old Porsche and my F-150 with 270,000.
Right.
This thing's unbelievable. 180 hours. Bangs. Then push rods.
Wow.
300 hours later, here I am with the cylinder head off of it. I'm looking at my valve seat. And I just polished one of them up with some lapping compound. I'm going to take some pictures of this other one before I do. I'm going to take you on a visual tour real fast from 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Straight down.
Okay, let me say this. Because we're at the end of the second hour.
It's going to be fast.
Okay.
This thing's hammered. This thing is hammered, got ridges in it, pits. Unbelievable. It is just beat to pieces.
Are they all that way or just one?
I'm going to say all of the exhaust valves were pretty much the same.
Well, of course, you cannot reuse those valves. You're going to have to pull that head completely apart, take it to a machine shop, regrind the seats, and put new valves, because the new valves will come coated with some kind of material, and there may be stellite coatings on the seat as well. We need to have a longer conversation than what we have now, because I'm out of time. But I'm really interested in what you're doing, and so let's get back together again. And I see that from Texas, I have another call on the hybrid. But folks, next week, same time, same station. I'm Bobby Likis. I appreciate all your calls, your confidence, and have great loads of fun. I'll see you then.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
History's full of automotive breakthroughs, like the electric starter in 1911 and analog brakes in 1985. Now, Shell is proud to introduce another automotive breakthrough, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, featuring an innovative additive package with patented technology. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline protects against all 3 main types of engine performance threats: gunk, corrosion, and wear. In conventional engines, Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline cleans and protects intake valves and fuel injectors. In modern engines, it works in extremely hot engine temperatures to resist the breakdown of cleaning agents and protect against performance-robbing gunk. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline, proven in industry-standard tests and recommended by BMW M Series. Don't give your engine just any premium gasoline. Choose a breakthrough. Choose Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Learn more at shell.com/US.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you Ricey Outfitters. I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grown, now you're here.